Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Welcome in. How are we doing here on what day is it? Wednesday, April 15th. Hope all is well in your world today. Charlie using other side of the glass today signifies our 2-year anniversary of the radio show. Been on the air for 2 years as of today. Also signifies tax day for most people. So happy to be here, man. 2 years. We survived. We didn't kill each other. We made it. We still like each other. Everything is good.
Yeah. Surviving is a good term for it.
Survive
this
in
is
advance.
definitely a career where you just have to survive sometimes.
Survive in advance, man. Just go to sleep, get up the next day, keep on doing it. Does it feel like 2 years that you've been here? Because, I mean, you came straight from college.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And this is your first radio gig.
Yeah. It feels like it's been longer sometimes. Sometimes
Like
it feels
10
like it's
years?
been like 10 years.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I'm 24. Like, I'm still pretty young, I think. Like,
Why do I feel like I'm 34 working
Exactly.
with Sparky for every day? What? He's aging me
not
every
just
day.
you. Sometimes Tommy ages me. Sometimes Mitch ages me. Sometimes,
Yeah.
sometimes everybody ages me.
It does happen. Coming up today, we have one guest today, former Brewers pitcher Don August will join us at 3 o'clock as we talk about the crew. Why Don August? Because A, I like having him on the show. And B, because he is a pitcher, kind of like we have when we have Tim Dillard on Mondays. I just want to pick his brain on what is going on with this bullpen and this pitching staff in general. Obviously, you are without a key starting pitcher in Priester in this rotation, and that lends itself to some flummox, I guess, as you're trying to figure that out. But the bullpen kind of all falling apart a little bit here at the same time is a little bit concerning. And one of the guys that is at the forefront of all of this is a guy that blew a game last night, and that is Trevor McGill. And Josh made a pretty nice little piece on the blow-up last night.
And this appearance couldn't come quick enough for Trevor. He wants to put that last appearance out of his mind.
And that ball is deep in the left center field. Mitchell on the run, and it stays in, bounces off the wall, then bounces up and over the yellow line. That is a ground rule double, and thank goodness that saves a run. The 1-1 on the ground through and a base hit. In to score is Straw. They'll hold Schneider. And the Blue Jays have tied it here in the ninth inning.
It's been a while since McGill has been able to record it out. They couldn't do it on Friday. First three reach here tonight.
Here's the 0-2 on the ground. Terang able to make the play. He'll get it out, but the go-ahead run's going to score. Line drive, base hit. Lockridge coming in. He's got a good arm. They send Okamoto, throw to the plate. Safe at the plate, throw to second, out. Inning is over, but the run scores. And the struggles for Trevor McGill continue. 3 runs in.
All right, so there are the highlights courtesy last night from Brewers TV. It wasn't pretty obviously for Trevor McGill. But what you realize when this all goes down is a couple of different things. Some people were kind of out in front of it. There were some people that I'm not going to say saw it coming completely like this, but some definitely did. Spencer Michaelis, who is a pitching coach, and he's done some Brewers writing, co-host of the Dear Dynasty pod and the Brewer Fanatic pod as well, tweeted out, 4 days ago, this might not be the best inning to illustrate it. There were different issues there, but McGill throwing 96 to 97 is just not going to work. I hope the velo returns, but this is why I wanted them to move him this offseason, especially if the market was as robust as rumored. Have no fear. He was not the only one. Jack Stern also had talked about potentially moving on from him this offseason, and Jack Stern was kind of raising his hand last night going, I kind of told y'all that we were going to possibly be in this situation. So people that were asking for him to be moved, kind of taking laps a little bit here on what has happened the last couple of outings for Trevor McGill. Others that have lobbied for him not to be moved, Tommy Wirtz, has kindly raised his hand and said, hey, I fought against wanting him moved, and maybe I was wrong on all of this. Well, Trevor McGill, after the game, talked to reporters.
Definitely way better than that. Pitches can be a lot better. Pitch execution could be a lot better. A lot of things can be better.
What about the curveball and just the consistency of that pitch?
Yeah, that could be a lot better too. Damn near everything can be right now. I mean, let's just hit spots first and go from there. Everybody can hit velo up here. Throwing 98, 97, 98. It's kind of the same velos from last season at this time. Just not executing and not getting it done right now. I know if I do a lot better in 2 games, we're in a different spot right now.
This is the concerning part about Trevor McGill if we're going to sit here and kind of look at this. McGill has thrown 44 four-seamers. This is from Kurt Hoke. 44 four-seam fastballs without getting a single swing and a miss.
That's tough.
The last time somebody missed a four-seam fastball from Trevor McGill was March 30th.
Wow.
His velocity, according to Mr. Kurt Hoke, is only down a couple of ticks, averaging 97.4 enter the night, but he also hasn't been able to spot it, as we heard there, McGill talking about that. He got fewer whiffs. He gave up more hard contact. It ultimately worked out for McGill last year, but a 449 expected slugging percentage and 20.6 whiff rate told a slightly forbidding tale. Now it's clear that for whatever reason, McGill hasn't been the same. This is kind of where I'm at right now with Trevor McGill. I don't think he sucks. And I'm not convinced that Uribe is the answer at closer either, nor have I been convinced that Uribe is the answer at closer. And I've been on that bandwagon since last year. I'm not there that consistently he can do that 9th inning stuff in and out because he is so emotional. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he can. And if he can, great. But the question here is, because Pat Murphy last night talked about that 9th inning deal, and fans getting upset and booing Trevor McGill and all of that, which is fine. But Murphy also talked about the fact that they're going to have to make a change there in the 9th inning, short term. They're going to have to sit down and talk about what they're going to do in the 9th inning. So it sounds like they're going to give McGill a break. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean McGill's going to end up coming in the middle of a game to work on stuff and, like, say, a 6th inning of a game that's maybe not all that close, or bring him in a 7th inning game with a 2 or 3 run lead or deficit where it's not high leverage? Maybe that's how you go about it going forward. But somebody else is going to have to be the closer. And last night, they did not have an answer because they had not talked about who it's going to be. So I ask you, Brewers fans, who should be the Brewers closer if it's not going to be McGill? And again, Pat Murphy said short term. So I don't think this is a long-term solution, but for the time being, who would be your closer? Nicolay Law Talker text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Can I sidetrack it before we get into this a little bit?
Go for it.
They gave me my lineup last night. I was in my office listening to the lineup from Tommy, and he goes, Frelick leading off. I was like, whoo! And then he goes, Contreras batted 2. I was like, okay. And Teray 3. I was like, hot damn. They did the lineup that I've been asking for. They scored 6 runs. Frelick got on base 3 times. 3 times. 2 walks and a hit, but he got on base 3 times. That's why you do that. Now, hopefully we don't go and try and screw around with this tonight and change things. Just leave the lineup alone now and see how this plays kind of going forward. So I was very happy that Pat Murphy went with the lineup we've been talking about on this show. And there are issues offensively, as we all know, on the left side of the infield. And we can get into that at another point later in the show. But I want to focus here on this bullpen and specifically Trevor McGill. Who should be that Brewers closer if McGill isn't going to be it? But one thing we know is this. Pat Murphy loves one specific bullpen guy as much as anybody else. And I'm not saying he doesn't love them all, right? Some people have their favorite kids. Some people are like, oh, my daughter, she's my favorite of all of them, right? Oh, my oldest son, he's my favorite of all of them. And some parents have it. Other parents will say, I have no favorites. I love all my kids equally. I don't love anybody more than the next. But if you go to the kids in the family, they probably will tell you who's favorite. Charlie, in your family, you and your sister.
I mean, I have 3 sisters.
Right, you and your sisters. Who is the favorite for your mother?
I mean, probably my second oldest sister. They're probably the closest. They're probably the closest. But like, I don't know. I don't care.
What about your father?
I mean, I'm probably my dad's favorite.
Oh, right. Okay.
All right. But that's just because we probably have the closest relationship. Like my second oldest sister and my mom probably just have the closest relationship. And that's maybe why. But like, I don't know. I feel like my parents, for the most part, love us all equally.
They don't. But either way, I wanted to bring this point up about this because I feel like Pat Murphy has a favorite. His name's Aaron Ashby. I mean, there's no question in my mind that Aaron Ashby is his favorite because he trusts him in every situation possible to humanity. He puts Ashby in there. And if you go to the Nicolay Law Talking text line where we're asking the question, who should be the Brewers closer? McGill isn't going to be it. 414-677-1250. You look at the 414. Ashby is my choice. I don't know if that's Pat Murphy's phone number or not. Has experience in high leverage innings and would save his arm.
I guess, but then you can't use him as often. Like you don't get to have him in there for like. I guess you could pitch him for 2 innings, like you used to with Hader. But this is a different team, a different era of baseball. Like you would have to use him in more situational opportunities. And I don't know if Pat Murphy wants to just use him in situational opportunities. I think he just wants to have Aaron Ashby available.
And he's available every day.
Uh-huh.
He's available
every day. Doesn't matter.
715. Trevor Hoffman. Bring him back. I think I'm bringing back.
It's like Corey Kluber's talking about the Brewers right now, the Brewer territory. Maybe he wants to pitch a little bit.
Yeah, maybe not. Right? Tell Kurt Hogue, hey buddy, you can do what Charlie using from now on. I'm gonna go try and pitch again.
I'll fill in for Corey. Yeah.
Kurt and Charlie and Kurt. Let's go. I could be wrong, but I don't think that's gonna be the guy. I don't think he's gonna go there. Where do you think Pat Murphy and this Brewers coaching staff is going to go when we start talking about who is that closer for the short term? While we wait for them to figure out how to fix Mr. McGill. Who do you think it's going to be?
I think if I look at who's in this bullpen, who's in this rotation, I think if he goes out there for another start and struggles again, Brandon Sproat is my choice. Yeah. And bring Brandon Sproat in the bullpen and see what you can do with Brandon Sproat there. You got other options that you could maybe work with rotating into that starting rotation, especially as guys start to get healthy here. You could do opener types of starts with a 5th kind of spot there. I don't know. I think you got to find a spot for Brandon Sproat. And again, if it's not going to be as a starter, you don't just want to send him down to the minor leagues right away. Try him out in the bullpen. Maybe try him out as closer.
I think it's going to be Zerpa. That's who I think it's going to be. I think he's going to go to Zerpa and let Zerpa be the closer. Try and hope and pray to God Uribe is okay in that 8th inning. And then maybe he moves McGill back to the 7th inning to be in front of Uribe. And then Zerpa ends up being the closer in the 9th inning. I mean, Zerpa did pretty damn good on the big stage World Baseball Classic. And then he comes here to the Brewers and he's not really on that big stage. But when it was the other day and he came in there and had to try and work out of it, he got through it. And then they brought him back for another inning, and then obviously it didn't work out. You're talking about coming in here and pitching the 9th inning potentially, and that's it. Come in, high leverage, white knuckle time. You know when you're pitching in a win situation. Go see what you can do. From the 414, the only answer is Abner Uribe. From a stuff standpoint, I agree. Uribe is the answer. I don't think anybody can disagree from a stuff standpoint that Uribe is the answer. I just don't trust him. I mean, we're just being honest here. He was good last year. He was really good. And he was a lot more consistent last year. And everybody said going in the offseason, trade McGill, just make Uribe the closer. Get what you can get for McGill. And maybe they would have been better off had they done that. I still worry about the emotional Uribe. That's my thing. And if you're a closer, that could work for you or that could work against you depending on who you are.
Yeah, it can. And I think for Trevor McGill, it usually works for him. But for some reason, he just doesn't seem like he's pitching with that same kind of emotion this season as he has the past couple of years. Maybe you need that emotion in that closer spot. And frankly, with Abner Uribe, like who is impressing you outside of Aaron Ashby in this bullpen right now? I mean, like you have to give somebody else a shot, and he's the guy who has experience. Zerpa has never closed before. In the past 2 seasons in Kansas City, he has always been a middle relief guy. He has never been a closer. So you'd be gambling on a guy to be put into that high leverage situation over and over again that hasn't really done that before. I think with Uribe, he spent half the season last year doing that for this Brewers team. And if he can go out there and have that energy, maybe that helps him in those higher leverage situations.
Another one coming in on the Nicolay Law Talk text line from Ziggy. Short-term guy that needs to be able to build up stamina is Robert Gasser. Give him the role and let him get stretched back out. Gasser, obviously, down at AAA Nashville doing his thing. Gasser's, let's see, his last time out was a couple nights ago, April 10th. In that start, 3 1/3, 7 hits, 4 runs, all earned, including a home run allowed, 4 strikeouts to 1 walk on April 10th.
I'd give it a shot. I guess it kind of feels in the same vein of like a Sproat. Just put these guys, these young players into high leverage situations to get them kind of going here at some point. I like the idea of going with a young guy. I don't know if I like it being Gasser. I think I really liked what we saw 2 years ago from him in the starting rotation. If he can come back to that, he can be another option that you can put in that role. I like that better for him.
And I think that's something that they have to determine. And that I really think they're just going to take either Uribe or Zerpa.
Those feel like the easy answers.
One of those two are the closer. The other is a setup guy in the 8th. And then I think McGill ends up being like that 7th inning guy.
Those are the easy answers. But as we saw with this Christian Yelich roster move, it's not always the easy answer for Pat Murphy in this front office. Maybe they're thinking of something else. They're going to try something new.
Yeah, maybe. But we'll see. The Joey Ortiz thing. Like, just quickly here. I didn't really want to get in the whole Joey Ortiz thing necessarily, but the Joey Ortiz thing, I saw this online and I was like, holy cow, that cannot possibly be right. Let's see here. Where is it? Here. Jake Stark, somebody that follows me on X. Joey Ortiz, after last night in his Brewers career with the bases loaded. What do you think he's hitting with the bases loaded? 45 at bats in his career over 3 seasons.
I would say 10 for 45. That's not the greatest, but serviceable, right?
7 for 45, hitting 155. He was 1 for 4 so far this year, 5 for 30 in 2025, 1 for 11 in 2024. But again, if you take that and then spread that out against others in their career, the bases loaded, I don't know what everybody's numbers would look like. If we went and looked at what's Christian Yelich's career numbers with the bases loaded, you would assume Yelich has had quite a few opportunities because he's played a lot longer than Joey Ortiz has. But is Yelich hitting, 275 or 300 or something like that in his career? Or, Ryan Braun, he's going to the Wisconsin Athletic Hall of Fame. What was his numbers with the bases loaded? Or Prince Field? And again, I am taking star players. Joey Ortiz is definitely not a star player. Joey Ortiz is a bottom of the lineup rotation player that is on the baseball field because of his defense. That would be why he's there. He's not there for his bat. We all forget this. We all expect him to hit like an all-star, but that's not the deal necessarily.
How does StatMuse usually come up with like every other stat except for the one that I need immediately at this moment? I have to dig through all these to find Christian Yelich versus the bases loaded in his career now.
I don't think it's that hard. I think you should be able to just go do it with Baseball Reference.
They do it by year, I think.
You should be able to find
it.
it.
Baseball Savant. They should have it on Baseball Savant.
Baseball Savant's another very good website that you could absolutely use it with, I would think, going forward. But either way, so Charlie will work on that and see if we could find that on one of these websites. But again, Christian Yelich, all-star type player, MVP type player when he was healthy type deal. And then comparing that to Joey Ortiz probably is not a fair comparison necessarily at the end of the day, but just to kind of get a baseline of a really good player versus Joey Ortiz, who's in $155. Wendy's really outdid themselves with these new biggie deals, $4, $6, and $8. The new biggie deals are bigger and biggier than ever. If you're feeling something snacky, you can get the $4 biggie bite. Feeling something medium, get yourself a $6 biggie bag, the junior bacon cheeseburger. If you want to go full biggie, you can get the $8 biggie bundle with your choice of 2 sandwiches, a small soft drink, and a junior fry. The choice is completely yours. For a pretty biggie deal, it's got to be Wendy's. Yesterday, I was called out on this show for being wish-washy on this Giannis situation. First, you're talking about you're sick of him and just move on. Then you're talking about let him pick the coach and let Giannis stay as long as he can. And I said, you're right. I'm very emotional when it comes to Giannis. In my heart of hearts, I know it's going to be a long road after Giannis if he leaves. It's not going to be pretty. So there's part of me that doesn't want him to go. Now, there's another part of me that says, hey, man, if he is going to go, you better get something for him, if nothing else, at the end of the day. Last night, late night, perusing the internet, and I came across a trade proposal in a story talking about Giannis that involves the Bucks and another team. And if this trade was offered, I think we'd all really, really have to consider it. Now, would you do it? Would I do it? What's the deal? We'll talk about it next. That's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. I'm toying with the idea potentially of playing the open out of every segment for the show. Just no longer having bumper music.
Mm-hmm.
And that way people can't get mad about what the bumper music is. I'm thinking I'm just going to tell Mitch Nellis, because he's the king of complaining about bumper music and everything else. Just like, dude, you know what? No more bumper music. Just play the Mason Crosby show open out of every segment. I've taken all creative.
Start a riot.
I'm taking all creative control away from you, Mitch. And then we don't got to worry about complaining.
Oh, man.
Tommy Wirtz is in here. The only reason I brought you in here, this will take 2 minutes quickly, is before that last break, we're switching gears. We're going to talk about this Bucks Magic trade idea out there. But before we get to that, we're talking about Joey Ortiz. Yeah. Joey Ortiz is hitting $155 in his career, 7 for like 45
it's been rough.
3 years with the bases loaded. So I told Charlie, I said, let's just see if we can find out like Christian Yelich. Like, what's the top guy hitting? A guy that was an all-star MVP type player. Like, what are his numbers? Because if he's hitting like 225, 230 with his bases loaded, then maybe we're just being hard on Joey Ortiz. So, and I don't know the answer. I have no idea. He got mad because StatMuse sucks and didn't give him the answer right away.
Well, yes, normally StatMuse would give you the answer right away. That was stupid. But every other website, when you want to do like splits for anybody, they only do it by year. They don't do it by career. So you have to go year by year and
figure out the math. Thank God I have a college graduate who's smart and can figure this out.
Well, you don't want to know the math. You don't want to know the math you missed.
Oh, well, regardless, I wasn't in the room, so you're right. I don't want to know. So, Charlie, what is Yelich hitting with the bases loaded in his career?
All right, so this is just his Brewers career. He is 31 for 81, which is a 382 batting average.
Is that good?
That's pretty good.
Damn.
That's pretty solid. Just these past 2 years combined, so in 2025, he was 9 for 12. This year, before he got hurt, he was 2 for 3.
Yeah, I mean, you want to know why? It's because you have to throw strikes when the bases are loaded. You're not trying to walk in these runs that are free. So that's even more why it's inexcusable how poor Joey Ortiz performs with the bases loaded. These are good pitches. These are supposed to be like pounding the strike zone. You have to make some sort of contact. And even last year, he had, 31 at-bats last year with the bases loaded in 2025. Moving him out of the 9 spot even. So David Hamilton.
5 for 30 last year.
Yes. And then moving him out of that spot to up to 8, it's still inevitable that he's getting the bases loaded.
Yes, because it's going to find you no matter how much you want to hide. The Pat Murphy thing last night, we are going to get to the Bucks in just 1 second. The Pat Murphy thing last night, we don't have a topic on about Pat Murphy being mad that they booed Trevor McGill. Do you know what the one thing he didn't want to bring up? And if I would have been in that room, I guarantee you I would have brought it up. I would have said, hey, Pat, you're right. Maybe they shouldn't have booed Trevor McGill, but they sure as hell shouldn't have been chanting Joey at Ortiz when he was up with a bases loaded, because he didn't deserve a Joey chant for damn sure. Gary Sanchez had a Gary chant.
Yeah.
I mean, that crowd for like the 10 people that were at that game last night, they were into it. They were chanting for these guys when they're up to bat. Again, Ortiz has done nothing to deserve any chant for him to do anything. And they were trying to be supportive, even though they knew it wasn't going to end well, and try to get Joey Ortiz going.
They haven't brought up anything. They didn't get brought up in post game. And I think I would have asked about this. The Luis Matos situation too, kind of pimping the home, thinking he had the homer and
only
only got a single.
He watched for a long time.
He didn't even get to run. Like, that was to lead off the 6th inning, and Lockridge came in the next batter. Like,
but
Garrett
when Matos got to the dugout, if you go back and watch on TV, Murphy didn't shoot him out. He might have said something politely, but he went like, nice hit. He was patting him on the back as Matos was walking in the dugout.
No, that was totally, you're not going to watch homers.
I understand.
He had 2 hits that game. He pulled him.
He was 2 for 3.
Ended up working out all right because Lockridge came up with the big hit. But I did think that was a doghouse moment for Pat Murphy.
I was still pretty happy he hit the ball to the wall.
Yeah, I guess. Right.
Because again, there's no expectations on Matos. None. They need somebody to get going offensively. They got to have somebody get going.
Why not put Greg Jones in, man? Just want to see what Greg Jones has at this point.
So last night I'm watching the game. It crossed my mind because Greg Jones was drafted as a shortstop by the Rays. So he's played short. Not that he's played it well, but he's played short.
They moved on from him because they thought they had figured it out with Wander Franco at the time.
So I'm thinking to myself, my gosh, like, how down are you on Joey Ortiz? Like, are you going to roll the dice and put Jones out there at shortstop if you end up having to go extras and let him try and win this thing and take Joey Ortiz out?
I'm afraid that the Spider-Man meme of all of them pointing at each other could just be replaced with Joey Ortiz, David Hamilton, Greg Jones, where it's like they're all just the
I'm not
same
putting
guy.
Greg Jones into that yet. I need to see Greg Jones.
Okay.
You saw him in spring training.
Yeah. He was, he's fast guy. He plays like how the Brewers play, man. He's just get on base, play good defense, cause some havoc. And the struggle is getting on base most of that time. He did a great job of it at AAA. Wasn't really the guy I thought at all was going to be called up. He was a non-roster invitee back in December when he got brought into spring training. I guess we'll see. I'm rooting for the guy. I love the rec spec Brewers. Like that's Hamilton, Greg Jones, Aaron Ashby, all rocking the rec specs too. Interesting look. Is that back? We should have Charlie wear them to produce a show one day.
I'm down, dude.
I'd wear him hosting the show. We both wear him. I don't care.
Respect days?
Sure, I'll do it.
All right.
You buy him, Tommy, we'll wear him. Charlie, use it over there. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer with you. I want to switch gears here and go to the Bucks. We're going to do that. I might as well take a break now, otherwise we're going to have no time to talk about it. I found a trade proposal that I think a lot of you are going to be like, yeah, I think I'd have to do that. I think I found one. Stay tuned. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome back. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, Charlie Use It. Potawatomi Sportsbook, baby. You feel it? Thrill of witnessing a walk-off grand slam, a buzzer-beating 3. You know the feeling. There's only one place to experience that raw exhilaration, the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Catch all the action in a supreme space. Dozens of sports betting kiosks. They have them right when you get out of the parking garage, right there on that 4th floor. They have them right there in the annex, that big area to the left of the Potawatomi Sportsbook. They have a whole wall of them. I'm telling you, you can go in, make your bets, go play craps, blackjack, whatever you want to do. Still get back over the sportsbook to cash your ticket at the end of the night. Cool drink specials, 48 beers on tap, dozen different specialty drinks. Luxury seating, 2 levels there. Great food, including homemade desserts and pastries every day. John Kuhn was there last night, him and Matt Schneidman. They had one of those Kuhn dogs. That thing is freaking gigantic. Did you see the picture?
I did see that. I
Kuhn's
think next
flipping
time,
off Schneidman in the picture.
Kuhn is such a football guy. Like, that is just the most football thing to do to any picture. If just somebody seeing a picture of you, just flip it off.
Hey, I'm going to put this on social media. Cool. Here's my middle finger.
Exactly.
Okay, dude. You say so. So that's going on. And a monster video wall, 2,000 square feet of beautifulness, colors, and more colors, and up to 30 sporting events at one time, only at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Plus, you have shuttles to and from Brewers home games. More info at Potawatomi.com. Must be 21 to enter the casino. Last night, scrolling along on social media and so forth, I come along this article in the Sporting News, and in this article, they take a proposal from Andy Bailey of the Bleacher Report for his trade idea for Giannis. Now, as I've said before, I am very emotional about this because my fear is if he leaves, they're screwed for a long, long time. But at the same time, I'm sick of all the drama and just want this to be done with one way or the other. Either you're here or you're not. I don't care, but let's just be done with this because I'm sick of talking about it. So I come across this trade idea by Andy Bailey. I simply want to know from you, would you do this deal? Okay? Just would you do this deal? Giannis to the Orlando Magic. So, no state taxes down there. He's going to make more money because he's not going to have all the taxes hanging out and payroll, whatever. Like, he's going to be able to go.
Yeah,
okay.
A pretty solid deal for him.
Still in the East, which is easier than the West.
Gets to go to Disney World. I'm sure Brooke Lopez will be hanging out with him.
Brooke Lopez would probably come play in Orlando for nothing, right? And Robin, probably bring Robin with him. In exchange, the Milwaukee Bucks get Paolo Banchero, Wendell Carter Jr., a first-round pick swap in 2031, and a 2032 first-round pick. Writes Bailey, quote, for the Magic, this deal isn't without risk. Giannis is 8 years older than Paolo. His injury history gets scarier every year. But last summer's Desmond Bane trade put this team firmly in a win-now window, and Giannis would immediately push them closer to title contention, writes Bailey. Folks, I think I'm in. I think I'd do it. And the reason why I think I would do it is because you're going to get a young, hopefully star player in this draft lottery, whether you're up in the top 3 or whether you sit down at 10 or 11 or whatever number you end up with. You should get a young player that's pretty good. And then I can have Paolo Banchero to be the other young player to go along with. I don't know, man. Like, I'd consider it. I know he hasn't been great. I get it. I understand. But that dude, his rookie year, he was showing what he had.
Last year, he was an all-star.
Yes.
Last year, he had a phenomenal. Just this year, he didn't take a step forward.
Correct.
He took a little bit of a step back. It wasn't bad enough to where, everybody's out on Paolo. But at the same time, this Magic team was supposed to be a lot better than they were this year.
I just don't think you get. But let me ask you this: would you rather have Banchero or Tyler Hero?
Banchero, easy.
Same. And you start talking about these deals that are potentially going to be out there, and you want a young star to build around. Tyler Hero's not that. I mean, he's a nice complimentary piece. He's a nice third option on a good team, probably something like that.
He's a second option. You don't think so?
I don't think he's a 2 on a championship team. No way.
I think he can be.
He's like a 3. He's like Holiday on a championship team. not defensively, but just scoring option wise. He's Giannis Middleton, hero.
I think he's closer to a Middleton than a Holiday.
That's for another time. That's for another time. But asking you, would you do the deal? Now, right away, Ole over there in the YouTube and X dugout said, nope, Paolo's been horrible. I get it, man. I understand he has been, but that's why he would be available in this deal, right? Because he hasn't played as well as he did the previous year. Had he played as well as he did the previous year, they're not even going to think about this deal. The only other thing that I would say I would want added to this, potentially, and I don't know if the Magic have a first-round pick in 27 or not, but that would be something where I would like to get a first-round pick in 27, if possible, because this team does not have a first-round pick in 27. This team is not going to be good in 26 more than likely, 26, 27 season, and then not to be able to get a first-round pick added to this, that part of it I would like to add in, but I don't even know if they even have a one to go with.
Well, and even though Paolo, again, had a down year, he still was 22 points per game, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. That was his best assisting season. His shooting percentages, his 3-point percentage was down a little bit for sure, but he was just taking less 3-point shots in general, and that's because they traded for Desmond Bane, who was supposed to take a ton of 3-point shots. Jet Howard took a bigger step for this team. Like Anthony Black took a bigger step for this team. I think if I were to change anything about this trade, it would be getting rid of Wendell Carter and putting in one of those two guys I just named, a Jet Howard or an Anthony Black, so you have a younger wing to pair with that instead of just adding another center to this group.
Yep, and that's fine too. Listen, if you're rebuilding this, you can't be worried about position specifics. You just got to get the most talented players you can back and then figure out the lineup later. Like, just get the 2 most talented dudes you can get in the trade, whether that's Carter or Jet or somebody else, and add on 2 or 3 first-round picks, and then let's go and see what happens. But as a Bucks fan and as a PR for the Bucks, I can sell Paolo Banchero of, yeah, we got rid of this dude, but I got an all-star right here that we can roll with and compete with going forward here, and we aren't going to take the massive backward step like everybody thinks.
Well, and especially, like you said before, pair him with a Darius Acuff type of player.
Yes.
I'm just going to keep saying that just so you keep getting hyped up.
We're not going to get him. I'm not even getting my hopes up for that. He's going to go watch him end up in Chicago. I'll be just so sad. Or Indiana. Oh, please, God, not Indiana with Halliburton.
Probably.
Oh, my God, please no. Trell, north side of Milwaukee, you're next. Would you make this deal for Banchero, Wendell Carter Jr., a first-round pick swap in 31, and a 2032 first-round pick if you're the Bucks for Giannis?
Nah, I probably wouldn't do that deal. I don't like Banchero's attitude. He's had a dumber run-ins with Jamal Mosley, his head coach down there. He kind of reminds me of that Jabari Parker type. Very talented, but he's got a little malcontent in him. I'm not just to say for the sake of saying I'm getting somebody talented on the team. No, I don't even want Hero. I would rather, if I were to make a trade with Miami, let's just say Miami, for instance.
Right.
I would take Ware. I might take the Jaquez. What's his name?
Yeah, Javier Jaquez.
Jaime Jaquez.
Jaime Jaquez, yes, sorry.
They
Close
could
enough.
add Hero in the deal, but Pat Riley would have to trade him and give me another pick and a young player or something. I want picks for that and Miami will have to add their pick this year. So I don't care if they win the lottery. So they will have to make a decision. If you want Giannis, if you want that if you win the lottery in Miami, you got to give up that pick. Other than that, I don't care if they get 1, 2, 3, 4. We have to have that pick this year. We're going to make that trade with Miami.
I'm going to trade Giannis. I want Pat Riley back or I want Spoelstra back.
Oh, come on, Sparky.
What?
Come on, Sparky.
What? You don't think Pat Riley would trade Eric Spoelstra for Giannis? I bet you he would.
Nah. Yeah, probably, nah. I wouldn't trade. I mean, the Bucks don't need Spoelstra. We don't got.
You
that
don't
type
think?
of thing.
You must be kidding me. They don't need Eric
Spoelstra's one of
Spoelstra.
the greatest coaches.
Eric Spoelstra's amazing. What are you talking about?
Sparky, we're about to go through a massive rebuild. Understand you're trying to get a star player back. I don't even want a star player at this point because we're not going to win anything. I would rather go to OKC route, continue to get young players. Once I get one of those, like if I drafted an A cup this year, if he turns out to be everything that I think he can be, Now I got a building block. Now I can start seeing what I can add as far as chemistry and starting to get another building block. I don't want a guy who's already been in the league that's like Paul Carroll, because we're going to end up trading him anyway. Because once the youth movement starts, he's going to be probably one to leave. We're going to trade him. So, like I said, it's all about picks for me. I would take a Ware because I don't think he's coming to his full potential. I love what I seen last night from him, but I mean, we only got a number of teams that it's not going to be a big, even though it sounds like it's going to be a whole bunch of teams, I guarantee it's only going to be about 3 or 4 teams at the end of the day because Giannis is refusing to go to the West Coast. So it's only going to be about Minnesota, Miami, maybe New York, and I don't even know what the hell New York got.
I don't even think about. No, I'm not doing New York. Yeah. Terrell, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Banchero's under contract through 29-30, has a player option for 30-31 at age 28. That year he'll have a cap hit of $54.4 million. Right now his cap hit's 41.2 this year. Next year the cap hit is 47.8. So again, from a salary perspective, you could pretty much do this deal damn near straight up at this point if that's something that they wanted to do. But he's in his age 24 season next year in 26-27. So when he hits at his last year would be his age 27 season. You have him for 4 years. Now, to Terrell's point, if it doesn't work out, you could always skate, trade him, get whatever you can before his player option in 2030, like you did with Giannis, and add more picks and continue to build this thing. But this gives you legitimately 4 years before the player option where you'll have a legit all-star type player like Michael Redd, that type of guy where, yeah, he's not a superstar, but he's a nice all-star player that you can continue to put young talent around and try and build this thing going forward. And then, of course, it is about the right coach at the end of the day. JB in the 920 says, Banchero and an actual coach could flip this thing.
I don't know if it could flip it, but I think it keeps you stable and at least makes it a better outcome than this year. I still don't think you're back to that championship type of
but you're not winning 15 games.
You're not winning 15 games. You're not winning 30. I think you win at least 42 games. You go
amazing.
Above 500, and I'll be happy with that. Yeah.
Hell yes. If your rebuild is 500 for a couple of years, and then you go,
to your point about Eric Spoelstra, he was able to do that a couple of times since losing LeBron and those other guys getting older, and then Jimmy Butler coming and taking that team to a championship. Even though they didn't win the championship and it was in the 2020 bubble, a lot of people don't like to talk about that year. They still got there. And then now he's built a competitive team again post Jimmy Butler. Like he can do that. The right coach can do that.
906 using the Nicolay Law Talk and text line says, no, we need draft picks now, not later. 906, this is what you're failing to realize. The reason why the Bucks, and I hear you. Like, I want more immediate impact with draft picks. But if y'all get Banchero, I guess it's okay. But the reason why you want 2031 or 2032, if you're making a trade for the Bucks, or if you're making a trade with the team that's going to have Giannis, odds are Giannis ain't playing in 2031 or 2032. Odds are that team that makes that move for Giannis will probably not be that good because Giannis will be done. That's why those picks are so valuable at this point, just like why everybody wants the Bucks 31 or 32 pick, and why everybody's mad that we traded all of these draft picks and now aren't going to have Giannis, aren't going to be good, and then aren't going to control our own first round pick when we're not good. But they were playing for now and not the future. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you. Charlie Usen is producing. Up next, Don August, former Brewers pitcher. Let's talk about the Crew straight ahead.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Welcome in. We are live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Hope you are well. Hope y'all got through the weather okay last night around the state of Wisconsin. I don't think it really affected anybody up in the Duluth Superior area, maybe not even Wausau, but I know Green Bay got affected with a bunch of flooding. In southeastern Wisconsin, I know there was at least one, I think they believe it was a tornado in the Sussex area. But hopefully everybody is all right. And it looks like potentially more rain and so forth coming tonight again. So see how that all plays out. Joining us now for our very, very fun segment is the one and only former Brewers pitcher, Don August.
It's time to talk about the crew. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Don August joins us on the guest hotline powered by Gruber Law. One call. That is all. Good afternoon, Mr. August. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Glad to be here. Talk a little Brewer baseball with you.
I'm bringing you on because I need some help here. I've listened to the shows before me today on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, and they're kind of harping on a couple of different things. One of the things that they're harping on is they're harping on Rock during the broadcast for citing possible fatigue issues with potentially guys in this bullpen as far as why things aren't going as smoothly. And like John Kuhn was trying to figure out, like, how are we talking fatigue? And it's April right now. Like, we're not even through the first month of the year, and we're claiming fatigue at this point for pitchers. So for those of us that have never been a professional pitcher like yourself, Mr. August, can you please help educate?
Well, I guess I'll try. Like you just mentioned, it is only April. We're, 16 games into the season now?
Yep.
We got a long way to go. I mean, if we're going to call this fatigue, I wonder what it's going to look like by the All-Star break, and especially when the dog days of August come around and, end of the season. So there's a long way to go here. I don't understand how there'd be fatigue. We basically just got, bro camp spring trainings. These guys have been built up. In this day and age, there's so much sports medicine and training and all this new stuff nowadays that I just don't understand how these guys get hurt or fatigued or any of these different types of things. Are they overthrowing? Is that the name of the game and it's been catching up to us? People kind of suggested that, when you overthrow and go as hard as you can, as long as you can, I mean, maybe these kinds of things happen. I don't know. That's just some of my guesses.
When you pitched, how much were you going max effort during, say, a 6 or a 7 inning start?
I didn't go max effort every pitch. I just felt like if you did that, you just blow your arm out and you just, crumble and fall apart soon enough. I think what we did in our day is you pitch to yourself and then you pick the right pitch to really go that full all out, let it out kind of a pitch, like that ad fastball. I'm just going to let her fly, change the speed a little faster. The guy's a little behind. Maybe he hits the ball, pops it up. I would say my little good curveball sliders, I pump them in there, but then, all right, I'm going to go for the little harder, sharper biting one, make him chase or something like that. So you picked and chose your moments to let it all out. I mean, from what I hear, that's the style of the game today, is just let it rip pitch after pitch until they bring the next guy in.
Yeah, that does appear to be what it is. Trevor McGill last night was asked about velocity, and he's, throwing around 97 miles an hour. And no, maybe he's not touching 100 or whatever, but as McGill pointed out, this is pretty much where he was last year in April. And then over the course of time, he builds up and then gets that fastball back up. He wanted to talk about last night of location is being the biggest issue. And then Pat Murphy said that they're potentially going to make a short-term change at closer so McGill can kind of figure this whole thing out. From your standpoint, how big of a deal is it for that guy that may be a closer or somebody else that gets that break taken out of a role and put into a different role to kind of relieve some of that pressure to allow you maybe to clear your head some?
Well, in my head, and when someone else is taking my spot, that's never a good thing. It's like, I think Wally Pipp knew that story, years ago when a guy named Lou Gehrig came in and took his spot. So you don't want someone to come in and take your spot. I think you just kind of keep working on the side and just kind of find it. And if you're struggling, then someone kind of comes in and takes the job a little bit, but to find it, I don't know where my head would be on that. I think with McGill, maybe he's overthrown or his location might be a little bit off. As the closer, it's, what makes the closers for McGill and our pitching staff and relief in particular, they've been so good for so long.
Yep.
It's been basically, they go right at guys. They jump ahead, they attack the hitters, and the hitters have to hit defensively off of them. And I don't think we've been really seeing that. When you fall behind and when you throw too many pitches, which when you walk batters, that kind of adds that pitch count up. And those hitters start to time and get the feel, and they're seeing your stuff on that particular night. And then that's when the pitcher has to pay. So the formula of the success of our relief pitchers have been just guys going right at them, attacking them, using location, using their velocity, pitching like how they know how to pitch. And that's where the success has been. So we're kind of hitting a little bit of a stumbling block here, perhaps. So we'll see what happens if they want to put probably Uribe in maybe in that role. But Uribe hasn't had that many, had a couple of rough outings himself here lately too. So I don't know what you want to try.
Well, let me ask you this. So if you're them, if you're Pat Murphy and those guys, they're like, okay, we're going to give them a break. Okay, fine. So you're to go in a different direction. Because we asked this in the very first segment of the show, which is, who should be that guy to close if it's not going to be McGill? I kind of think it's going to be Serpa that gets put in that into that situation. He pitched well in the World Baseball Classic in those tight scenarios. Uribe, I think he's got the best stuff. I think he's very emotional for me. And I get a little bit concerned from that standpoint. If you're building the perfect closer, what are the most important traits that you want to see in a closer?
I think a guy that just has that look on his face, I'm going right at you every time. If something goes a little wrong, you're not fazed by that. You keep that same little demeanor, that same little look. If a guy gets you, you got to get that little feeling that, hey, you guys got a little lucky here, and you just go right back at him and you shut him down. And you want those other teams to say, man, we can't crack this guy. It's just a matter of going right at him, having that look of confidence. And, confidence kind of goes off of how you do. And how you do is, like we mentioned, man, these relievers just got to go right at them and jump ahead of hitters and have them hit defensively.
When you talk about Mizorowski and how he looked last night, apparently he was sick last night and pitching through it. As young as he is and relying on some of the stuff that he has, which obviously that electric fastball that everybody talks about, what's been the most impressive thing for you watching Mizorowski?
I just see a more look of confidence. When I'm watching him pitch, I'm seeing that he's now feeling that, hey, I'm a big leaguer. This is me. This is where I'm at now. I'm one of those guys. Last year was all kind of new to him. It was like kind of fun, and he's out there getting a lot of attention, but it was just new. And he kind of, throughout the course of the season, he kind of he proved himself, especially in the playoffs. He really kind of showed something in the big limelight there. And so I think coming into spring training, it was a different story this year. Hey, I'm getting the ball. I'm one of the guys on the staff. As a year ago, I'm hoping to be seen a little bit. I'm hoping to maybe make the team out of spring training. Or, I guess if I go to AAA, then I guess better work my way and get there. So it's just a different year now, and he's just in a different place, and he has a look of comfort, and he's learning what he's got to do.
Tom, former Bruce pitcher Don August. Follow him on X at Don August 38. We talk about the crew here on Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer with you. How much more patience would you be willing to exude if you are running this baseball team with the left side of this infield right now, whether it be with David Hamilton, Rengifo, or Joey Ortiz? Because offensively, it is a real struggle. Again, last night, Joey Ortiz unable to do much with the bases loaded there in a big moment.
Yeah, that's a good question. When everyone's playing well on the most part, we don't put that much of importance on Joey Ortiz. Everyone's really happy with his defense.
Right.
well, when there's injuries and there's other guys starting to struggle, then it's like, well, we start looking at everything overall, and then you kind of, well, we can need this help there on Ortiz. I just hope, and I think the Brewers will be okay. You know, we're hitting a little bit of a losing streak. Some players are injured, key players, and once they come back, I think the ball will roll back in our favor. You know, the beginning of the season, everything was working. We had the great starting pitching, we had the great relief pitching, and the offense was putting up the numbers. So everyone's happy. So no one's going to think much about what Jory Ortiz is kind of doing at this time of the year. Though, you know, we hear in the background some echoes of, you know, these young players in the minor leagues like Made and some others that may, you know, right there. So do the Brewers think about going to that this soon? I don't think that was part of their plan, but when things happen, maybe they think about it. But if I were them, I just kind of hey, let's just roll through this. You know, the guys will return. You know, it's the relief pitching right now that's kind of struggling, but they'll find themselves. And when they do, you know, we're going to get back on track again, and we'll get through this. It's a long season. There's lots of ups and downs, and well, we got one of the downs right now, kind of, you know, in the third week of the season, and you know, I don't think there's no point to push the panic button or anything at this point right now.
I agree with you. Don, I got one more for you because I remember seeing you on X tweeting during the World Baseball Classic. You pitched for Team USA back in the day, and then eventually baseball was lost in the Olympics, and that's how the World Baseball Classic was created by Bud Selig. And away we went, and now this thing is super popular, and a lot of these guys want to play for their countries, and it gets intense, and they draw big numbers. People are watching all over the place. What have you made of the World Baseball Classic, with it not obviously being the Olympics?
I loved it. When they suggested this, I was all on board with it. You know, the Olympics was the first thing, you know, in 1984, the team that I was on, we introduced, you know, baseball into the Olympics, and then they brought it back for several of them to follow. And then a couple of the Olympics, they didn't put them in, and then now they are. But I guess, as you mentioned, you know, the WBC was brought in to kind of fill the void and let's get this world competition going. You know, it's kind of the World Cup of baseball. And I really enjoy it. I mean, I always have, but I mean, I can see that it's getting bigger and bigger. There's more and more countries around the world that are playing baseball, and they're getting better at it. I mean, you know, it's not no given that the United States is automatically supposed to win it. You know, there's lots of other countries like Japan and Venezuela who won it this past year. It's a lot of good entertainment. When back in the day when it was the Olympics and as amateurs, and then, you know, the professionals were used minor leaguers, but it's pride. I mean, when you have a jersey that says USA on your chest and your name on the back, that is a big time thing. So when it was first kind of out, a lot of players were just kind of waiting to see if they should do it or not. And I'm always like, man, jump on this. You'll remember this forever. And I think we're getting there now with a lot of our players, because they're hearing, these current major leaguers are hearing the guys who have done it and describing how awesome it is. I think more and more guys are jumping on to want to represent the country and, you know, make a good show.
1984 Team USA. Bobby Witt was one of the pitchers. BJ Suroff, obviously a member of the Brewers. Mark McGwire was on that team. Barry Larkin, Will Clark. You guys had a super talented team that year.
Yeah, baseball made a deal, because usually the Team USA's that, you know, they always got the amateur college guys, and every year they go around and play in these world tournaments around the world. And then, you know, but they would, the seniors of college baseball players that year would get drafted, and they'd move on and start their minor league careers. Well, for the Olympics in '84, they made a deal that they would be able to keep all the players, keep the seniors, and put together the best team that they possibly could. So that's what they did. And, you know, we got drafted, but they made a deal, because the thing is, if you sign a contract, then you're a professional. Back then in the Olympics, you had to keep that amateur status thing going. So they made a little thing is, okay, we can negotiate and sign a contract, but to get around that, they just paid us our signing bonuses once the Olympics were over with. So now I think that, you know, the Olympics is going to, hopefully they can keep that going too, but the WBC, man, it's awesome. So '84 was a great experience. And like I say, I just tell all these guys, go for it. enjoy it.
It's awesome.
USA.
No doubt. He is Don August, former Brewers pitcher. Follow him on X at Don August 38. Thank you so much for coming on, Don. We'll talk to you again throughout the season.
Sounds good. Enjoyed myself.
Take care. There he is, Don August, joining us on the guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. You go back and look at the 84, like some of the other teams, not nearly as stacked as what the WBC is in these other countries. I'll tell you that much, because you didn't have that type of growth with baseball internationally. Yes, you had teams, and there were teams being played, obviously, but you didn't have the big breakthrough to Major League Baseball until years later.
Well, like, it's just kind of crazy to think about how recently some of these guys are just starting to get into the league representing their countries.
Right.
I mean, Fernando Valenzuela from Mexico was not that long ago, and he was kind of the first Mexican player to really make a name for himself. Ichiro Suzuki was not that long ago, and he was the first Japanese player to really make a name for himself in MLB. A lot of these guys are more recent than you really think. So the fact that it's boomed as quickly as it has is really cool.
It absolutely took off, no question. Hey, bring your cravings. Wendy's will bring the rewards. Download the Wendy's app today and start earning rewards. Wendy's Rewards is fast, free, and full of flavor. Get 200 bonus reward points and a free 10-piece nugs just for signing up. Earn points on every order and trade them for fries, burgers, and more. Earn free eats faster than you can say fresh, never frozen. Loyalty has never tasted so good. Coming up on the other side, LaMelo Ball. What are you doing, dude? And not only what are you doing, what are the refs doing? And should there be a suspension involved in all of this? We'll get into that straight ahead. Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome back. See Sparky Fiver, Wisconsin Sports Daily. Charlie Usen producing the show. Still to come, the leadoff show with Tommy Words today from 5 until 6:30, getting you ready for game 2 between the Brewers and the Blue Jays. You'll have your lineups here from Pat Murphy before the game. Then after the last bit, you make the switch to the Potawatomi Sportsbook post-game show with the franchise, Tim Allen and Tommy Words coming up tonight. They'll be on the air from 9:30 to 11 tonight. So keep it tuned here to the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network for the remainder of today. I'll tell you a little bit about the NBA. No, we're not going to talk about the Milwaukee Bucks. We're going to talk about a national NBA story, which is something that's very rare, I feel like, on this show. I don't feel like we talk a ton of national sports on this specific show.
No, only really when like big things happen. I think the last time we talked NBA was Bam Adebayo dropping 83 points.
Correct. That was the last time. And yet again, here we are, and Bam is being talked about again. This time,
not his fault.
Bam went bam, and that's what led to all of this.
Ball trying to get around Fontecchio, splits defenders and gets it blocked by Fontecchio. Miami is running. Larson on a bounce. Back for Larson, and he lays it in. Hawkins with a heads-up play. Ball by himself. For the throwdown. And Bam Adebayo is down. Very concerning right now for the Miami Heat.
Wow.
Their athletic trainer, Wes Brown, has made his way over. And that was Ball who took his leg out from under him.
Sure did, with his hand. He literally took his hand and lifted him up off of his feet by grabbing his heel. That's what happened. I had highlight courtesy of NBA on Prime. Absolute insanity. And I said on X last night, I said, there's got to be more to this. There's got to be more to this. This can't just be a random, I'm just going to grab him. Like, there's got to be a backstory here. And there is a backstory. He's done this previously to Bam. I still don't know what the grudge is. I don't know if it's a girl. I don't know if it's something else off the court or whatever. But when you're going at a dude multiple times in your career, with stuff like this, something else is going on that we aren't all privy to. There has to be, Charlie.
You would think so. And again, it's not just like LaMelo's tripping everybody. He's not pulling a Grayson Allen where he's just sticking a leg out whenever he wants. No, this is specifically Bam Adebayo for some reason. And from all accounts from like other people, Bam Adebayo is a cool guy. Like, he doesn't really have a lot of drama with anybody else. Yeah, he's been kind of annoying since he scored 83 because he just keeps bringing it up. And like, no matter what conversation he's having, he just brings it up. But at the same time, he's a cool dude that a lot of people just like for the most part. When he dropped 83, a lot of NBA guys weren't really complaining about it. They were okay with it. Like, it seems like he has a good history, good track record. LaMelo Ball, like, for a team that has played so well, led by you don't need to do this.
He scored 30 last night, LaMelo Ball.
Including
he was god awful from 3. It was like 2 for 16,
but they won the game, and it was because of big plays that he made late in that game.
No, that's not true. No, that's not true.
Well, he threw the ball away.
No, that's don't care.
What's your problem then?
Bam played 11 minutes because he got taken out. They won that game because they took Adebayo out of that game. They took away their best player on the floor and took him out for the remainder of the game. And they still struggled to win that basketball game with Adebayo playing 11 minutes. From
LaMelo's contribution.
But his biggest contribution was taking out Bam Adebayo and negating him from the game. That's why they won. Yeah, he had 30 and
I'm saying they could have won otherwise too, though.
I don't think they could have.
You don't think so?
Nope.
At all?
Nope.
Not a single breath of you thinks that they could have won that game. Like,
you
going before that game.
You won by 1 point and you took Bam out. You're telling me you would
have won going into that game? I felt like the Charlotte Hornets could beat the Miami Heat. Yes,
but then you watch the game, and if Bam's healthy, there's no way they beat the Heat.
I'm saying that before that game, I felt like LaMelo Ball leading that team could beat the Miami Heat. So I was not concerned, really, I guess, that Bam Adebayo would be in the game or not in the game. I still felt like the Hornets could win that game.
No, it's a lot easier to win when you take out the other star player. I'll tell you that much right now. Here is Eric Spoelstra after the game, and obviously he's mad because the play-in tournament has been the Heat's thing. Like, they go from the play-in tournament and then they go make a run into the finals. Like, that's what these dudes have done forever. Spoelstra not happy after the game.
I didn't see it, but I don't think it's cute. I don't think it's funny. I think it's a stupid play. It's a dangerous play. Obviously, our best player is out. I'm not making an excuse. The Hornets played great, and they made those plays down the stretch. We had our opportunities to win. I just, that's a shame. He should be penalized for that. I don't think that belongs in the game. Tripping guys, shenanigans, and Curtis was there. It's his responsibility to see that. And if it's not his responsibility, then Zach's got to see it. If somebody has got to see that, and that he should have been thrown out of the game. For that. I don't know him from anyone. There's no place in the game for that. Obviously, it took Bam out of the game, but that did not deter us.
May not have deterred you, but that's why you lost. Zach Zerba, who is the crew chief in that game, afterwards does the pool report with the media, was asked, why was the play not reviewed in real time? The play wasn't reviewed in real time, Zarber said. The play continued with a fast break, and because play wasn't stopped immediately, there was no whistle on the play. The window to review the play was closed. Play was stopped after a change of possession and then a timeout. So by rule, our window to review that play then is closed. Follow-up question. Was it later reviewed by the officiating crew in the locker room or by the replay center? Zerba said, our crew review all our plays, so we reviewed the play at halftime. Should have risen to the level of a flagrant foul if reviewed. Zerba said, at this point, that goes to the league operations. They'll make a determination on that in the coming days, so they will make that determination and go from there, said Zach Zarba after that one, the crew chief in the game in which the Hornets beat the Miami Heat and the LaMelo Ball took Alabama Adebayo. My question is just simply this. Despite nothing being done during the game, should he be suspended for the next round? For the first game of the series, let's say. Should LaMelo Ball be suspended? Nicolay Law talking text line 414-677-1250. 414-677-1250. My issue on a lot of this is always the same. If you don't flagrant foul call that in a game and you don't make a big deal of it in the game, how then can the league come back and go, sure, he's suspended for the game? Well, if he's suspended for the game, then there ought to be retribution and penalty on these referees who blatantly missed the call that should have been a flagrant foul. In my opinion, at that point, there should have been something done to LaMelo Ball in the game, but there wasn't. They just continued playing. Nothing was ever called or anything of the sort. So now to come back and say, okay, now I'm going to suspend him. Do I think he should be suspended? Yes. But to miss that call in the game and then say he's getting suspended, to me, that's a little bit tough. It's one thing if it's a flagrant 2 and you're upgrading it to a flagrant 1 or whatever the case may be afterwards. Okay, that's one thing, but at least something happened. There was a foul called, something at least happened, and then the NBA takes it to the next level. In this situation here, I mean, if I'm Charles Lee, the basketball coach of the Hornets, you better not suspend him. You didn't even blow a whistle on him in this game.
Well, you didn't blow a whistle, and I think it kind of helps LaMelo Ball's kind of whole, I was hit my head. I wasn't feeling right. I flailed my arms. Like, it was all an accident.
Chance. You could see him grab the shoe.
I'm saying that it helps him that Bam Adebayo doesn't react, and the rest of the team doesn't see it either, and nobody else goes and attacks LaMelo.
Right.
It helps when you have a reaction from the other guy, and then you can see LaMelo Ball react back. The fact that nobody else reacted in that whole play is going to help LaMelo Ball with his whole, it was an accident.
So,
case.
Right, LaMelo Ball talked after the game. I'll play the right one. I was going to play the highlight, the highlight again.
I apologize on that one. I mean, I got hit in the head and didn't really know where I was, but I'm going to check on him and see if he's okay and everything.
LaMelo, it kind of looked like on film that you might have grabbed his leg. I mean, did you intentionally grab his leg?
I haven't even seen. Like I said, I got hit in the head, didn't even know where I was, but yeah, just playing basketball. But like I said, sorry, and I'm going to check on him.
He didn't know where he was, Sparky.
Then his butt should have been taken out of the game with a concussion. Then he should have been in concussion protocol.
Not running back down court really fast after Miami scores on you guys to then get a dunk on a 4-on-5 break.
So whose foot did you think you were grabbing trying to pull down, LaMelo? You're gonna spin this and saying I was concussed and wasn't in my right mind. Well, you were clearly grabbing somebody's foot trying to pull somebody down at that point, whether it was your mind or the concussed mind. It clearly looks like on film you did that on purpose. with all due respect, there's no way the league should even remotely even consider what he said.
Well, and like people are saying, oh, well, he hit his head and made him flail his arms out. Like
No,
all these, like,
he
you don't
grabbed it.
fall like that. You don't.
But
Like,
it's one thing if you take your arm and you kind of come. It just does nothing on the radio. But if you're watching on YouTube or on X, at WI Sports Radio, if you take your arm and you're coming out, and you come back and your arm flails and you accidentally hit somebody in the face or hit somebody where, you don't want to hit somebody as you're going down, okay, maybe. But if you watch this highlight, it looks like he reaches over, takes his hand, and grabs and pulls up Bam Adebayo.
Well,
like the play earlier in the year where he took out Adebayo,
looks exactly.
he went down, but it was a trip with his legs as he was going down. Now, on that one, he'd be like, hey, it was an accident. I didn't see him. I had no idea. I know he does.
Sticks his leg out the same way he sticks his arm out.
Yes. I mean, I understand, but it's a little bit easier to defend the leg whip. Like, I was falling down. I didn't see him. This here, he blatantly just takes his hand and moves Bam Adebayo. And again, that's why, regardless of what anybody thinks, that is exactly why they won that game last night. They took out their best player. And if you're a Hornets fan, you're fine with it. We're moving on. We're in the playoffs. We get a real series now, and we go from there. It's just absolutely insane to me. 414, Peter in Milwaukee says, that was the most unintentional trip I've ever seen in my life. He was off balance, getting banged around, falling to the ground, hit his head on Bam's knee, and his arm flailed. This is nothing like the first time that he tripped Bam. Don't be such a hot take artist, Sparky. You're crazy. Next text, he didn't say I'm saying you're crazy. Next one, 414 says suspend him the entire next round. Next one, 414, also suspend the officials for the rest of the playoffs. They won't do that. Another one here from the 920. Sounds like a LeVar Ball answer. Apple doesn't fall far from the tree. JB in the 920. There's no chance. Like, you can show me that play 100 times, and I'm not believing you that was an accident. No chance. And I'm definitely not believing that he wasn't in his right mind because his head was hurting.
I'm rewatching it right now. He does not hit his head on his knee. He hits his head on like Bam's groin area, kind of falls to the ground, sticks his arm out. As Bam kind of steps back over him, he looks back at Bam's leg and goes,
yes, and swipes it.
It's like,
correct.
It's pretty
there
clear.
Was nothing accidental about that.
No.
How you can watch that and go, that was an accident. Then if you're a LaMelo fan, God bless you. If you're
turns
a
his
fan,
head towards who he fell on. Like,
yes.
I think he gets mad that Bam's in his space in that play there.
Correct.
And doesn't get a foul call. So then he turns and does that. And then again, blames it on hitting his head, even though he doesn't really hit his head.
No, there is absolutely no chance that was accidental. Sorry, not buying it. But clearly somebody is. Peter in Milwaukee is buying that it was an accident. And that's fine. Everybody can have their own opinion. I watch it. I don't see it. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Up next, Charlie Sounds of the Day. Sparky with you. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily. See Sparky Pfeiffer, Charlie Usen. Leadoff show comes up at 5 o'clock with Tommy Wirtz. Getting you ready for Brewers and Blue Jays tonight. They'll go from 5 until 6:30 tonight. And then after the last pitch, you make the switch to the franchise, Tim Allen and Tommy Wirtz for the Potawatomi Sportsbook post-game show tonight from 9:30 to 11 here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. It is 3:42, and normally around this time we do this.
1, 2, 3. What sound clips will Chicago Charlie pick today for Sparky? Will Sparky become enraged? Will laughter ensue? It's time for Charlie's Sound of the Day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
All right, Charlie, where are we going?
All right, so first up, we're going to hear from ESPN's Buster Olney as he discusses the Diana Rossini and Mike Vrabel situation, but from a bigger scope, and hoping that a situation like this shines a brighter light on this whole quid pro quo culture in sports journalism.
I do hope this whole thing opens up a larger conversation about, you know, the potential destructiveness quid pro quo in our business. Because let me tell you something, it's as bad as I've ever seen. As someone who's covered the sport for a long time, you know, the other day I was having a conversation with an executive of a team who said, "Yeah, when I read a story and I can connect all the dots. You know, this person, this reporter has a relationship with this agency, and here's how the truth is being bent because of that relationship." And that, man, I see it too. Like I'm aware of what's going on behind the scenes, and I think that's the cost of all this, right? When you have these situations, and I'm not just talking about, potentially personal relationships. I'm talking about just sort of the understanding, hey, if I give you this, quote unquote scoop, then you can bend the number this way, or you can bend the truth this way. It kind of reminds me, it's as if I'm a player, who is in the middle of the 90s steroid era, where you're looking around going, come on, with some of the stuff that's happening. And, the people who suffer for it, of course, are the viewers, the listeners, because they don't have the context in the way that, someone like me or the executive I was talking with has about what's going on behind the scenes. And I really hope it's something that gets, scrutinized here as we move forward.
It's never going to change. We talked about this yesterday when the Rossini story broke on this show. We got into it. Folks, it's not happening. I mean, I'm telling you right now, these relationships are built over the course of time. These quote unquote insiders build these relationships one way or the other. However they do it, they get to it. And then once they build those relationships, and now you start making money, really, really good money as insiders. And yeah, you're connected and you have your agents that work you and so forth. And then the other insider has his set of agents or her set of agents that she works. Same with players, same with coaches, same with general managers, presidents, owners of teams. Everybody is being worked by the insiders or the reporters. And to a degree, they're using each other, right? One is using the insiders using them to get stories, and then they're using the insider to get intel on other situations. It very well could be something like this, like, hey, I'm at another radio station, and it's like, hey, just trying to figure out, I want to bring Charlie over. What's he making over there, right? And then the middle person in all of this is friends with Charlie. Charlie's like, hey, tell him I'm making $50,000 a year. Okay. Yeah, he's making $50,000 a year. Oh man, really $50,000. Oh, all right. Sounds good. Right. And then they come back and they offer him $75,000 a year. And in reality, he ain't making $50,000 a year, but that's what they told him to tell this other person. And the middleman now gets some play. So now Charlie's going to have out this middle person with a story later or something else that person needs later. And again, it's you rub my back, I'll rub yours. And that's how this whole thing kind of works. So you have agents feeding stories, and in return, they ask for scuttlebutt that the insider may be hearing about another player on the market, or what another GM is trying to do, or what another GM is trying to get done. And they're both feeding each other information. Now, that doesn't mean necessarily that we're hugging people and doing all that stuff, but that is how this works. And it's how it's always worked. regardless of before, even when there wasn't insiders, when there were just beat reporters. The same thing, man. You're on the road with these guys all the time. You don't think relationships are going to be formed over the course of time? Absolutely they are. Man, literally, I remember going to Bucks practice, and there would be dudes at Bucks practice getting cell phone numbers of all these players and then texting them at night and meeting them out at the bars or going to the club or whatever. Why? Because they want the inside scoop. They want to be able to break stuff and be on top of stuff. They want to form those relationships at the end of the day. And I get it. And I understand it. And again, it's not going to change. All right, Charlie, go ahead.
Next up, we're going to head on over to the Baltimore Ravens, where Eric DeCosta, GM of that team, was sharing the Ravens' old undrafted free agent scouting strategies.
Back in the day, we used to we had a prize for the scouts that could sign undrafted free agents that would make the team. It was a cash prize. And we haven't done it in a long time. Coach Billick used to do it. And it was, so that would make things pretty interesting after the draft, because if you actually signed a player and he made the team, you'd get an envelope with some money. This is going back now, like however 20 years or whatever it is. But that was interesting back in the day. Guys were scrambling and be competition because there's only so many guys you can sign, right? And that was an interesting part of it back in those days. It was the wild days back then.
I see nothing wrong with it. I'm sorry. I don't see anything wrong with it, man. If that gets you a chance to get better football players as far as undrafted free agents go, and that makes everybody pay more closely attention and more on top of their game. And then if you get a Sam Shields to work out, that scout gets X amount of dollars in an envelope under the table. Fine. Go ahead. I mean, my God, they were cheating back in the day anyhow, using spy cams and whatever else they were doing. Like, I don't, whatever. That stuff, that doesn't bother me. That's just trying to add a little initiative to everybody.
Yeah,
that doesn't bother me.
That's why I thought it was funny when he like puts in the middle there, we're not doing this now. Like,
right.
Who cares if you were doing it now? They're your scouts. It's your drafting process. Like, go ahead, do it. You're not cheating by doing that at all.
Right. It's like salespeople that have competitions. Hey,
exactly.
Whoever makes the most sales today in our big sale will get $500 to, or you get to pick something out. Like, I mean, that doesn't. To me, that's fine. I have absolutely no issue with that. All right, go ahead.
All right, and last up here, we're going to hear from our old friend Craig Counsell down in Chicago.
No. We're going to hear from the trader down in Chicago. Ain't no damn friend of mine. Go ahead.
But he was discussing the Chicago Cubs also dealing with a lot of injuries, especially in their bullpen and rotation. And one pitcher, Ethan Roberts, and his crazy injury.
Ethan, before the game yesterday, just had a accident, and a vent fell. He cut his hand trying to not let it hit his leg. Just a random bad luck. So he was unavailable last night. So we just at this point we just get reinforcements. It's happening at a rate which is not good. It's happening to all right-handed pitchers, and so that's why we're with a lot of lefties right now. And we've had some stuff happen in AAA with some, expected reinforcements too. So that's kind of how you get to this bullpen constitution. This is not a strategy against the Phillies or anything like that. This is we're at kind of able bodies right now.
A vent just fell out of the air. I need a lot.
I do not believe that
I need a lot more details. The vent fell in the clubhouse. The vent fell from where? Like, that is random. Like, if you have the suitcase injury, suitcase fell out his hand. Okay, I guess I kind of see it. I don't know how it breaks or how anything happens, but sure, we'll go with the suitcase fell on his hand or whatever other dumb things people come up with to tell you of why they got hurt, which sometimes may be the reason and other times very well may not be the reason. I can't remember who it was. Was it Steve Sparks, I think it was Steve Sparks, who I think now has been an analyst for a number of years with the Astros, I want to say. He was a knuckleball pitcher back in the day for the Milwaukee Brewers. I'm pretty sure, if memory serves correct, he got hurt by trying to rip a phone book.
Come on, dude.
Google it.
What is the point?
Steve Sparks phone book. See if I'm right. I'm pretty sure that's That's who it is. Now, again, my memory is horrible. So if I'm wrong, I'm sure somebody will correct me on the Nicolay Law Talk.
Steve Sparks injured his shoulder tearing a phone book.
Told you.
It was 25 years ago on
Yeah.
March 14th.
See? Look at that. Can't remember if I have a soda
That was
in
in
the
2019,
studio.
so even more.
Can't remember if I have a soda in the studio, but I can remember something that happened in 2019.
Exactly.
But again, first of all, who tries to rip a phone book in half? Number one.
Lots of people.
Really?
Yeah. That's like weightlifters, like bodybuilders.
He's
like,
a pitcher.
Yeah, dudes just like doing stupid stuff, Sparky. And like if you can find out you can maybe rip a phone book and you're around a group of your friends, you're not gonna freak out and think that's the coolest thing ever with your boys. Like guys just do stupid things.
I thankfully must have hung around with a different group of testosterone filled dudes than all these guys hang out with.
Right.
I've never my
Tomorrow,
friends ever tried to
WI
rip
Sports
it.
Radio, every show, everybody's gonna try to rip a phone book.
I
That's the plan.
can't, so we're not going to have me try because I'm the weakest of everybody. So there's no reason
It's
I'm
not about
gonna
strength,
try
it's
this.
about strategy, Sparky.
It's strategy.
Yeah, there's strategy to it.
No, there's not.
Yes, there is.
What are we doing? What, you're going to wet it? What's your
There's
strategy?
a strategy to it. Mythbusters. There was a whole episode about it.
You watched
I love
something on this?
Mythbusters. Yeah.
This is our 2-year anniversary, and he never ceases to surprise me. And I probably do the same for him.
Exactly.
Coming up next, we'll get to our green and gold update. The Packers have their tour bus. It was supposed to be hush, hush. Don't tell anybody where we are. Until last night in Milwaukee on the ABC affiliate, Mark Baden, the meteorologist, went to his weather camera in Racine, and right in front of the weather camera was the Packers tour bus. Right, sitting right there.
That's
Everybody's like,
hush, hush.
oh, look, a Packers tour bus is hanging out in Racine right now. So we all knew they were in Racine last night while the storms were going on. And Randall Cobb was on Inside Wisconsin Sports earlier today. They asked him about the weather last night. Randall Cobb, who's had, I think, a tree fall on his house and has had his house catch on fire. When all that was going on, the sirens, he's like, I'm out, went to the basement of the hotel and hid out in the basement of the hotel. We'll hear more from Randall Cobb coming up next. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Here we are, you, me, Charlie. We are live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Tommy Wirtz is coming up with the leadoff show from 5 until 6:30, getting ready for game 2 between the Brewers and the Red Sox. Get your lineups here for Pat Murphy from before the game and all that fun insight. Minor leagues doing some things today. Timber Rattlers with a doubleheader. I saw earlier Josh Adamszewski, I believe it was, with a opposite field home run, which is obviously a good thing. I saw that Jesus Madej had his second homer of the year today for Biloxi as well. I saw Andrew Fisher snag a line, drive at third base, and turn a double play on a guy at first base.
Last night, Jet Williams had 3 hits.
Yes, finally. Yeah, I did. I looked at Nashville last night after read how pathetic their numbers are. I went last night to see what everybody was doing last night, and Jet Williams did have 3 hits last night. It is 4 o'clock, so it is time to do this right here. Oh, but you never changed it. You told me on Friday.
I get distracted by things, and I knew you haven't noticed for an entire week.
Has it been that long?
It's Wednesday. So 5 days, yeah.
5 days. All right. So on Friday, Charlie was perturbed that on our little button bar where we fire our opens, that the button itself is red for the green and gold update. And he was like, what is this? How is it red of all things?
Before I had you to play
right. Yeah, well, it's red still.
It's time for your green and gold update on Wisconsin Sports Daily, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer.
Okay, here we are. It is 4 o'clock. I'm distracted by something on my computer, so I'm just going to minimize it so I don't get distracted farther. Let's talk about Randall Cobb. Randall Cobb is on this tour bus traveling around the beautiful state of Wisconsin with other current and former Green Bay Packer players. And he was on earlier today on Inside Wisconsin Sports. The weird thing about how this whole thing played out was, according to Trevor and Josh, they had no idea who they were getting off of the bus. So Trevor was literally on the air. They had Doug Gottlieb, and normally Gottlieb goes like a half hour, the head coach for the Green Bay Phoenix. And he's like, yeah, we're going to have somebody on from the Packers, so we're going to have to let you go. So somebody will join us next from the Packers bus. They literally had no idea. So they come back, and boom, it's Randall Cobb. We're like, all right, that's a good get. That's a good pull. And if you missed it, they're going to play it back tomorrow morning, Josh said, tomorrow morning on Inside Wisconsin Sports in its entirety, because there was no chance remotely he was coming on or anything. So him and Tim Allen, Trevor is off tomorrow and Friday, Tim Allen and Josh hosting the morning show the next 2 days. But in this, they brought up the conversation piece about Matthew Golden and his struggles to really put together a pretty good year in his rookie year. Didn't have as many opportunities and so forth like everybody thought. Yesterday, we played Field Yates from ESPN talking about the fact that he drafted him in fantasy thinking he was going to have this bust-out rookie year. It never happened. So here is Randall Cobb talking to Josh and Trevor about the Packers wide receiver room and Matthew Golden.
You know, I think it's exciting. You got some competitors. You got some guys that can really go. They got speed. They catch the ball really well. They run great routes. Obviously, Christian's fought some injuries through his career. Jay Reed has missed some time. You got Golden, who I know I would think that a lot of people had higher expectations for him in year one, but that was a crowded room last year. And I think that expectation put on him was a little too much. I mean, if you look at it, I think he has the ability, but a big thing in the Packers offense and the Flores system is the understanding and knowing where to go and what to do. But you saw that he has the ability, especially in that Chicago game at the end of the season, the playoffs. And I look forward to seeing him take that second-year leap.
The question that we have for you is, do you feel better about Matthew Golden now, after 1 year, knowing that Romeo Doubs is gone, knowing that Dontavian Wicks is gone, knowing that he is definitely the third wide receiver on this team, potentially the second wide receiver on this team if he can leapfrog over Jaden Reed, but he's definitely going to be in those 3 wide receiver sets because that's all they have. Now, this all changes if they end up taking a wide receiver, I think, in the second or the third round on day 2 of the draft, which is coming up next Friday. We will have the Green Bay Football Draft Show next Friday night from 6 o'clock until about 9:30. Charlie Usen and myself will be hosting that, covering rounds 2 and 3 for the Packers. Packers don't have a first-round pick, so we're not doing anything on Thursday. But on Friday, we'll be covering the draft, Charlie and myself. So looking forward to that. So if you want to listen along, feel free to do that, and it should be a good time. So providing they don't draft a wide receiver there, he's going to be one of the top 3 guys. If something were to happen to one of the other 2, he potentially could become the guy. If something were to happen to Christian Watson and it's Matthew Golden and Jaden Reed, then he is going to start to get many of footballs thrown his way. I think, and potentially unfairly, that a lot of the fan base is going to look at this upcoming season with Matthew Golden and say, well, if you don't do something this year, you're a bust. Like, that's it. If you put up similar numbers as last year, this year, without Dobbs and without Wicks, then we're just going to deem you a bust and move on. And then we're going to have to have the Packers go out there and get a veteran wide receiver to come in here and play, or go use another first round pick, which they don't have next year either, but go use another higher draft pick on a wide receiver. I really feel from a fan standpoint, this is a make or break year for Matthew Golden. I do not think from a team standpoint that is a make or break year necessarily for Matthew Golden, but I definitely think it is that from a fan standpoint around here of people want to see their first one wide receiver who everybody's been clamoring to take for the last 10 years, 15 years, whatever it is, since the Javon Walker pick, for them, that guy to go out there and be a big impact. And the fact that he wasn't was very disappointing, I think, for a lot of people. And now with the transactions that have occurred, now there is real excitement and hope that he can now finally bust out this year.
I am kind of with the fans, though. If he doesn't, like, the history of the NFL over the past couple of years has said after 2 years, if you're a first round guy and you're not performing, those teams usually move on from you, and they usually know by then too. Jahan Dotson's a guy that pops in my mind. John Ross, after his full 2 first seasons with Cincinnati, they gave up on him. You go to Tennessee, Treylon Burks is a guy that's recently gotten given up on after 2 seasons. It takes 2 seasons for a lot of these teams to decide that you are not going to be an impact player in our offense. And I think that's because you've also seen a lot of guys in their first 2 years explode right onto the scene. You've had Puka Nacua come out and just do what he's done. Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. So it kind of feels weird to say that, no, he doesn't have to, because you're comparing him to either the worst guys or the best guys. But that's how the NFL has kind of treated a lot of these guys, is that if he's a first round pick and he's not one of the best, then he's one of the worst. And all these guys get moved on from. And usually it's the right choice.
I think part of this has to be knowing why you didn't have that year last year that you wanted and why everybody else wanted, right? And I don't think I've really heard Matthew Golden explain why it didn't work. So in most scenarios, when you're talking about a wide receiver that's not playing a ton, it's either A, he doesn't hold on to the football enough. It's B, he simply doesn't round the routes correctly, meaning he rounds off a route maybe a yard short or a half a yard short. And in the National Football League, you have to be exact. This is not I was close. No. You have to do it exactly the way the play is designed. Or if it's an offense where there are side adjustments between the wide receiver and the quarterback, and you're seeing things differently than the quarterback, and you're breaking off routes when the quarterback's thinking you should continue on, that also will get you a seat on the bench and watching, because you're not on the same page as the quarterback reading defenses. So those normally, I think, are the 3 reasons why you don't play. And I guess the outlier reason would be, well, they're just stacked. He can't get in front of everybody. But were they stacked? I mean, was that receiver room that great to where he couldn't overcome Dontavian Wicks to get on the field? Was the receiver room that great that he couldn't get 3 or 4 throws a game consistently from Jordan Love? I I just think it has to be one of the other reasons as far as why this didn't work in that first year.
Well, and I think that was the reason that Jahan Dotson gets moved on from, because Washington's wide receiver room wasn't that stacked. Right. That's the reason John Ross does, because before they draft Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, that wide receiver room isn't stacked. It's the same deal. Same with Treylon Burks in Tennessee. You just have to be better if you have the opportunities, and it feels like there should have been opportunities for him.
Yeah, I agree with you. There should have been. Do you feel better about Matthew Golden now after hearing Randall Cobb? Nicolay Law Talk at text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. You also can go back and listen to the interview with Randall Cobb as well at wisportsradio.com. Or you probably can go back on YouTube and go back and watch the replay there as well. Again, it's at WI Sports Radio on YouTube. We got a bunch of shorts, different videos you can go back and watch. And obviously we stream live on YouTube and on X throughout the day on the different shows. I do think Matthew Golden takes a step, but again, only if they don't take a receiver on day 2. If they take a receiver on day 2, say in the second round, they go wide receiver. That Brazil kid that they just brought in from Tennessee, that wide receiver. And then you got Hurst, the other kid from Georgia State. Both those dudes are like 6'3", 6'4", and can run. If either one of those two guys gets taken, as we talked about yesterday, this is either we're not going to sign Christian Watson to a long-term deal, or this is we're not sold on Matthew Golden, so we're going to go get us another guy that can stretch the field at this point and be a problem. Because Matthew Golden, he's not 5'9", but he's also not 6'4", right? He's an average size wide receiver in the National Football League. So if they truly are looking for a bigger, quicker guy, it's either Golden's not the guy, we got to find somebody to play opposite Watson on the other side, or Watson's not going to be the guy long-term. We're not going to put our money there, and we need somebody like him to play with Matthew Golden.
I mean, I just hate both of those situations. I said this earlier in the week when we were talking about Christian Watson, this potential draft pick, is that I would just trade Christian Watson. If you're going to go out and make that type of an aggressive move, bring in a player like that, I think that's saying that, again, you have a plan. I think you could kind of say the same thing about Matthew Golden after what I'm saying here. If you're going to give up on him that fast and use your second round pick this year when you have other areas of need on this team to bring in a wide receiver to a wide receiver room where you feel like you have 3 guys at least that fill up in that room, trade Matthew Golden while the value is high. Because, like, again, you have to start making multiple decisions with one decision at some point here for this Packers team if you want to be a championship team.
Let's go to the phones. Nicolay Law Talk and text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. And the key there from Charlie, if you want to be a championship team, which Ed Policy says they do, Brian Kuhn says they do, Matt LaFleur, I'm not sure how much he's really talked about championships, but I'm assuming he does as well. We know Jordan Love has to get himself a Super Bowl if he's ever going to be put in that category with Rodgers and Favre. So that's what has to happen. Ram, north side of Milwaukee, you're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily with me, Steve Sparky Pfeiffer. What's up, Ram?
Well, I just told Charlie, first of all, why scapegoat a rookie? I can't get with that. Let's talk about the quarterback room. Now, I just told Charlie that I looked at the stats, right? And Jordan Love averaged 225 yards per game passing, and only 3,200 yards as a quarterback. Okay, we can say the standard is between 3,500 and 4,000 yards. When's the last time Green Bay even had a 1,000-yard receiver?
Well, it's Devontae Adams.
I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out there.
Devontae Adams.
Okay, and he's been gone how long?
A couple of years.
Okay, so now we can't stretch the field because I'm not going to say it's because of Golden's fault. We got to look at those receivers over there. He just got here last year.
Mm-hmm.
And Green Bay been leading the league in drops, man. Come on. So my question is, we jumped the gun to get Jordan Love when Rodgers was still great, still pretty good. When he probably needed a couple more years, at least take over a team probably that's in a little bit better shape. But going forward, you talk about being a championship team. If you can't throw the ball, you're not going to beat a team just running the ball unless you got what's that running back name that played for the Ravens? I can't think of his name right now.
Derrick Henry?
Yeah, you got like somebody like that. Josh Jacobs is nice, but do you want your running back to get beat up? Because if you can't throw the ball, teams know that they're going to pack the box, Sparky. What are we going to do?
Jordan Love's the top 7 quarterback in the league, man. Thanks for the call, Ram. I mean, he's a top 7 quarterback in the league.
Well, and he brought up the yards per game argument.
I don't worry about that.
Yeah, he only threw 225. That was also right where Joe Burrow was at 226. Bo Nix was at 231. Caleb Williams was 231. Justin Herbert 232. Sam Darnold 238. Those are all pretty good quarterbacks last season.
Yeah, I don't worry about that.
Okay.
That doesn't bother me. The quarterback is fine. The quarterback is the guy, Jordan Love, I think, going forward. We all know I've been supporting Love through this whole thing. On the 414 Nicolay Law Talk and Text line, Lucas Van Ness has to step up this year. It's time for him to play to his first-round selection. Also, the Packers will look to draft another wide receiver after letting Romeo Dobbs and Dontavian Wicks leave. Another wide receiver should be added. Ted Hurst would be good. He's big and fast. John in Milwaukee. And Ted Hurst is a name associated with the Green Bay Packers from Georgia State. Again, we talked about him yesterday. And yes, that's why, again, I think they're going to do this. Now, the other thing that I've talked about that everybody laughs at is Marvin Harrison. And I just implore you, just type in Packers and Marvin Harrison into Google and go read and read and read and read. Everybody is putting these two guys together, Harrison and the Packers. The only issue in all of this, we should get somebody out from the Cardinals, is I don't know the relationship between Gannon and Harrison. So if that relationship isn't great, then obviously that's not going to happen. However, you have the Dexter Lawrence situation that we talked about prior, and that is a deal where that is apparently at an impasse for a contract extension with the Giants. So now Joe Shane, who is the general manager of the Giants, and John Harbaugh pretty much are saying, yeah, we're kind of open for business. We're trying to get this done, but sure, right? We'll take calls. For everybody saying, there's no way he let Saquon Barkley walk over like $1.2 million. So don't tell me there's no way that Joe Shane would trade Dexter Lawrence. Like, I don't believe you. I think it very well could happen. Then I saw a mock draft today. Best case scenarios for every team in the draft. The Green Bay Packers, they had getting Dexter Lawrence for pick 52.
I'd be okay with that.
Done.
Yeah, easy. Yeah.
Done. And the writer's point on all of this was, hey, man, like, I don't think anybody is giving you a first-round pick for a guy that's not a defensive end or an edge rusher. A defensive tackle probably does not net you a first-round pick. Maybe a second-round pick, but probably not a first-round pick. And that would be full-on, we're all in type deal if you're the Green Bay Packers and you go get Dexter Lawrence from the New York Giants to match up with Micah Parsons, to match up with Devontae White and the rest of these guys. I mean, this Packers team is stacked on the defensive side of the ball if they were to do something like that. You would assume Goody would pick up the phone and have that conversation. You would think.
Why not? That fits the one biggest need you have.
Yes. Seth in Green Bay listening to WNFL. What's up, Seth?
Hey, Sparky. Hey, guys. So on the Matthew Golden front, I think his trajectory is going to continue to go to the stratosphere in this upcoming season. It kind of has to. And all this, them having to beef up the wide receiver core, I got no disagreement with going after Marvin Harrison and getting him in, you need to follow the Seattle Seahawks model, right? I think Jordan Love is a better quarterback than Sam Darnold.
Yes.
I think our wide receiver core can compete with what Seattle did on their offensive side. And I think that running backs wise, as long as they stay healthy, can do what Seattle did. You have to have the solid defense to win the championship. You don't have to have the best offense in the league. You got to have one of the best defenses. And I think McManus also has to have a better year this year, but defense needs to be first and in the forefront. And offensively, as long as we stay healthy, we should be fine.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's health, right? Health is the issue with the Brewers. Health was the issue with the Bucks. Health was the issue with the Packers for the last couple of years. And it seems to be just a dark cloud floating over the state of Wisconsin when it comes to our pro sports teams. Thanks for the call, Seth. Yeah, I think defense is it. But if you look back at the previous, 10 to 15 years of drafts, almost every draft focuses where for the Packers? Defense, especially early. Right? That's where they've been living, is on the defensive side of the ball. You can go all the way back to Ted Thompson. They do a lot of drafting in the first round on the defensive side of the ball. Now, they obviously don't have that this year, but this is a situation where in the second round, there's going to be good defensive tackles there for you at 52. There just is. When you get to the third round, there's probably still going to be defensive tackles that you could play alongside Devontae Wyatt that can stop the run. May not be great pass rushers, but are big, wide bodies that can stop the run and be an impact and play right away in this defense for Jonathan Gannon. Then the other need is cornerback. So if we're talking about needs right now, I would assume a corner goes on day 2 and a defensive tackle goes on day 2. What I don't know is, do they see wide receiver as a need right now? And based on what they're bringing in for visits, I think you could have that conversation of, yeah, they must, because Brazil from Tennessee is not going all the way to round 4. It's not happening. There's no chance. He's going in round 2, maybe early round 3. So if you're bringing in that type of guy, you have interest in seeing what all is out there. And your curiosity, I think, is piqued as far as what type of player you would consider taking there at 52.
I also feel like, though, that when you're bringing in these guys this late in the draft process, like when everybody is bringing them in, but like these types of positions tells me you didn't scout them nearly as closely as you did maybe other positions during the combine, during the end of the college football season. Like you want to see these guys more because you don't have as much information about them, which also tells me that they're not as high priority, that you're looking at them because you have to go through that. These are top guys that could potentially fall to you at that pick. But at the same time, that also tells me we're done with the defensive tackle scouting. We know what we got there. We've done with the cornerback scouting. We know what we got there. Let's start looking at wide receivers now.
I was looking at a mock draft earlier today. Was it Mel Kiper's mock draft? He had Brazil going like 7 or 8 picks after the Packers pick at 52. So he's going to be right there in that area. Whether he's gone before they get there or after he gets there, he's going to be there. Hurst is another guy that was gone after the Packers pick as well. So he is another guy that should be there around that selection. Now, whether or not they do it, I don't know. Nobody thought they'd take a first-round wide receiver with Mark Murphy, and that ended up happening. So they take a first-round wide receiver last year, and they come back and take a wide receiver with their first pick this year in the second round, Charlie.
That would also tell me Ed Policy just didn't like what Murphy did at the draft last year and that he wants to fix whatever went wrong.
See, and that's what we don't know, though. We don't know how involved Ed Policy really is on the football side of things. He makes it sound like he's not. He makes it sound like these guys can go do what they want, and it's more of the
well, then Goody didn't like what Murphy did. Then is then the bigger problem.
Probably. But I mean, that very well may be. I think we don't know this yet. We don't know. I have enough information. I think Policy may be more along the lines maybe of Bob Harlan more so than Murphy, right? Murphy's the one that came up with the silos and all this other stuff. So we'll see how this plays out for sure. Take a quick timeout, come back. Jesus Madej, we said earlier, hit another home run today. But there was also another minor league player / major league player, a young guy, that signed another long-term deal. How much longer can the Brewers wait before they do something with Jesus Madej? And then we got to start talking about numbers. That's up next. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome back. Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, Charlie Usen. Lead-off show comes up here at 5 o'clock, and you're ready for Brewers and the Toronto Blue Jays, game 2 of that series after heartbreak last night. Tommy Wirtz gets you ready for the game, get you starting lineups. Can you do me a favor? Can you look at the lineup? I'm sure it's probably out.
Can I say one thing from Jack Stern real quick? Murphy said the Brewers are expecting to push Kyle Harrison's next start back a few days to give his left wrist more time to heal. They don't plan to put him on the IL.
Logan Henderson going to come up?
Probably. That would be my guess. Or like we were talking about before, Robert Gasser, bring him up, find a way to put him in the bullpen, and then Ashby in the starting rotation.
I want you to look at the lineup. Can you bring it up? I've not seen it, so I don't know what the lineup is. Can you tell me if Luis Rengifo is in the lineup?
Let's see.
Just look at the bottom.
He is not. No.
Is David Hamilton in the lineup?
David Hamilton is in the lineup.
Is Joey Ortiz in the lineup?
Joey Ortiz is in the lineup, yes.
Dave Gasper. Dating back to last Tuesday, April 7th, the trio of Luis Rengifo, David Hamilton, and Joey Ortiz are combined 3 for 51. That would be a batting average of 58. Rengifo is 0 for 19 in that span.
Yeah, not great. Not good. Guess I'm glad he's out of the lineup.
Again, you have to have patience. Like I just don't think you can start cutting guys in April. Like you have to give them through May at this point. Like, I don't
so much young talent.
Yes, but they're not ready, man.
But
they're not
they're
ready.
Better. They got to be better than what you're getting out of these three guys.
You've got the guy that we all want is Andrew Fisher. He's at single A right now. Like he's not coming.
Somebody's got to be better. I would rather give a chance to a guy that like it doesn't have to be him. It could be literally whoever's at Nashville playing third base. Like just to give him a shot. It has to be better than what is happening right now.
Yeah, and the whole quantum leap David Hamilton thing, please tell me when that happens so somebody can wake me up because that I have not seen at all at any point. All right, let's talk a little bit about the Brewers, but not about the actual Major League roster. I want to talk about this cat right here because this dude today just continues to do his thing.
2 ground outs. Next pitch is skied well towards right field. Kilpatrick gives chase to the track, leaps up. Did he make the catch? No, he did not. Home run, Jesus Madej.
Jesus Madej with his second home run of the season for Biloxi today. And Madej is just absolutely crushing. Now, if you remember yesterday, Charlie was like, bring up Cooper Pratt, or 2 days ago, bring up Cooper Pratt so I could see Madej in Nashville. And let's see if Madej can hit AAA pitching, because if he can, to hell with this, just bring Madej up this year. Madej, after that home run, boosted his OPS to 1.033 at AA right now.
Give him a shot. Like, again, just figure out how to give other people shots. When we see this day in, day out of just these young players, again, continuing to keep skyrocketing through these rankings, through their games, just give anybody a shot but David Hamilton.
So earlier today, Kevin McGonigal and the Tigers reached an agreement on an 8-year, $150 million contract extension. That locks up the 21-year-old into the next decade. Now, this deal here, 8 years, will take him through all the arbitration years so they don't have to battle with him on that, which is obviously a good thing. But it also buys out the first 3 years of his free agency, which also is a good thing. So you don't have to worry about necessarily losing him at this point. So that also is a positive. We have seen time and time again, guys getting locked up, and the Brewers are still sitting here with nothing done with Madej. They got Cooper Pratt locked up, but they've not done Madej yet. McGonigal is already at the major league level at 21, okay? 17 games. He's got 8 RBIs, 11 walks, 8 strikeouts. He's hitting .311 to this point for the Detroit Tigers at age 21. Jesus Madej is going to be up here by the time he is 21. I can but guarantee you Jesus Madej is going to be up here by that point. Right now, Jesus Madej is 19 years old. Actually, no, he's 18. He'll be 19 on May 8th.
Yeah.
He's at AA. There is a good chance that at 19, he will be at AAA. And at 20, he will be in the big leagues at some point next year. He is hitting 335 with a 455 on base percentage this year. And like I said, the OPS 1.033.
Well, and again, at this rate, from what we're seeing at the left side, on the left side of the infield, if you want to move some stuff around, like we could see him at 19 too. It may not be this season, but to start opening day next season, I think you could see Jesus Mate at the major league level, especially if he hits AAA this year and hits well at AAA. I think that's something that's going to be worth looking at going into next offseason about whether or not the Brewers bring in the same kind of players they do, or they want a better stopgap there because they're not ready for Jesus Mate to come up.
Correct. And that's the one thing that we have to wait and see. The question is, how long would you wait to pay Jesus Mate at this point? How long would you wait? Nicolay Law fan talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. And if you want to talk money and talk about how much you'd be wanting to pay him or willing to pay him, that's fine. In my opinion, this needs to get done. Like, we could talk about, well, we're going to wait for the CBA to get done in 27, and then we'll have the conversation. But there is a reason why everybody is running to get these guys locked up. And if we're just being honest, which I try to always be, if they get rid of arbitration or they slice arbitration to like 1 year only, and now these small markets get these players for a year or 2 years less, and in exchange, they get a salary cap or something like that. But now these young players can get to the bigger markets quicker and not spend as much time at the major league level for these smaller market teams. That is going to be a huge gut punch to the Milwaukee Brewers if it were to get to that point. There's going to be changes made with the CBA. Like I don't see any way how we go through all of this, especially if they miss games and there's not changes. There's going to be changes. So if that means slashing arbitration and getting rid of arbitration, and now it's 1 or 2 years less service time with the major league team, that's a problem. And that is why I think some of these teams are running and trying to get guys locked up, because maybe these owners know right now that they're going to be willing to sacrifice that if that means they get a salary cap. And that's why the Churios of the world get locked up to a long-term deal. Terang gets locked up to a long-term deal. And that's why getting Made locked up to a long-term deal is really, really necessary at this point, Charlie.
Do you think the owners in the MLBPA are getting closer to a decision? And that's part of the reason a lot of these teams are getting a little bit more aggressive with these types of moves?
No.
You don't think so at all?
I haven't seen anything that says they're even really talking at all.
Well, but at the same time, like the owners have to know something that we as the layman don't know. Like they have to know that getting these guys signed as quickly as possible. Like obviously it's inevitable that these changes are going to be made like you're talking about, but at the same time, you can still wait until later in the season, until the off season to do this type of stuff. Why do it right now at the beginning of this season, unless you're pretty sure that there won't be that long of a work stoppage next year?
Well, that's true. And that's the one thing that we don't know. We don't know all the behind the scenes conversations about they are anticipating missing a month of spring training, and then we're going to start spring training in April. The games will get going in May. Like, I don't think they're that far down the line to have that conversation. I would guess we'll have a better idea of that come February, because this thing doesn't expire till what, December 1st, I think. So you'll get to the nitty and gritty of these conversations probably come October and November is when it'll pick up, or it may not pick up until it officially expires. I mean, you may not have serious conversations until December and wait for the World Series, because again, the World Series is going to go what? End of October into November. So I would assume that these guys don't want to be in intense negotiations while the season is going on. So maybe they wait for the season and get done before you even get to it.
I guess, but like in my mind, that just seems like bad business. And I'm not the billionaire running a baseball team, but like to not have some kind of plan going into those negotiations and just say, hey, we're just going to figure out when the contract is up seems wrong to me. And to think that the teams that are potentially going to be in the World Series, most likely like the Dodgers, the Yankees, like those owners, frankly, seems like they don't care what'll happen. They're just ready to deal with whatever because they know they can keep on winning. They can keep paying players. Like they don't care. So the teams that won't be in the World Series or are less likely to be in the World Series, like I think they will have some free time on their hands to start planning this out prior to that contract expiring.
I got a text coming in here on the Nicolay Law Talk at text line 608. Give Madej 15 years for $370 million. No.
No. I like it. I like the enthusiasm for him, but
no. Another one coming in from the 239. Did Tyler Black get hurt? Because he was at least hitting in spring. Tyler Black is hurt. He got put on the 7-day injury list on April 8th with an undisclosed injury, and he isn't hitting necessarily all that great right now at Nashville either.
better than some guys.
Yes, better than some guys.
I was
yes.
looking at Brock Wilkins because I made that comment about whoever was playing third base. Don't bring Brock Wilkins up right
Yeah,
now.
he was hitting like 29 the other day.
He's
or
up
30.
to like 6.067, I think is what he was at.
He's at 67.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was at like 29. So he must have done something.
Must have, I guess. Got to hit one hit. That's all it takes, man.
But again, like how long do you let him struggle before you send him back down to AA, before you make a switch from whoever's at third base down there at AA and moving that person up? Or if Madej is going to play third base and not shortstop, bringing up Madej and putting him at third base and letting Cooper Pratt stay at short and then seeing what happens. But you have Andrew Fisher at third base at single A right now.
And Andrew Fisher at single A hasn't been playing all that well to start off the season.
He had a nice defensive play today.
But that's what they want to figure out with him, is if he can play defense consistently at the third base and moving forward. And if he's doing that, the bat you can put in the backseat for a while because you know he can hit.
You know he can hit. I agree with you on that. Coming up next, things that we missed on today's show, brought to you by the Milwaukee Admirals. We'll talk with Charlie Larson of the Milwaukee Admirals. And of course, you can feel it, can't you? The thrill of witnessing a walk-off grand slam, a buzzer-beating three at Sparky, and you know the feeling. There's only one place to experience that raw exhilaration, the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Catch all the action in Supreme Space, dozens of sports betting kiosks, cool drinks. We're talking about 48 beers on tap, a dozen different specialty cocktails, 2 levels of seating, great food, full menu at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Try one of those Coon hot dogs. John Kuhn was there. They took a picture of him and Matt Schneidman last night and put it on social media. That thing is gigantic.
It looks
There's
delicious.
no way I don't think I could finish it.
I have to try at least once.
Yeah, I don't think I could finish it. I don't, but it looks delicious. Plus, they have homemade desserts and pastries, brunch all day at the Potawatomi Sportsbook Kitchen. Great atmosphere, monster video wall, 2,000 square feet. Show you up to 30 sporting events at one time, only at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. More info now at Potawatomi.com. Must be 21 to enter the casino. Also, don't forget shuttles to and from Brewers home games. That's right. Park in their free parking garage. You have to make a purchase inside the Potawatomi Sportsbook. But when you do, tell them that you're making a purchase because you want to ride the shuttle. Then they give you a little thing to put on around your wrist or whatever else, and you're good to go. So take advantage of that too. Ride their shuttles to and from Brewers home games at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer with you. Charlie using his hair too. Oh, beautiful day it is. Beautiful because I don't have tornado warning sirens going off and everything else.
Don't jinx it.
Yeah, I better not. But we should be all right, I hope. Charlie Hughes over there. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer here with you. Don't forget, coming up 5 o'clock, the leadoff show with Tommy Wirtz, the big old hunk of love from 5 until 6:30. Gets you the lineups, gets you ready for the game. All the latest in the injury news world. Also some Brewers news. I sent a text to Tim Allen, who will be on after the last pitch. You make the switch to the Potawatomi Sportsbook postgame show. Longtime major leaguer and Brewers pitcher Chris Capuano will take over as chief operating officer at the MLBPA after the firing of Xavier James, a source tells ESPN. Ian Penny, a senior advisor to executive director Bruce Meyer, will handle HR duties following the firing of Michael O'Neill.
I used to call him Cappuccino because it was so hard to say his name, but it was easier to say Cappuccino for some reason.
He was a super nice guy. I think he's dead. He is a super nice guy. It's Chris Capuano. Joining us now to talk about things that we missed, brought to you by the Milwaukee Admirals, is Charlie Larson, right there on X on YouTube. We can see him on X and YouTube at WI Sports Radio. What is going on, Mr. Charlie?
Hello, Sparky. How are you today?
I am doing fine. Before we get to end of the year stuff for you, you guys sent out a press release talking about a certain Admirals player that was named Man of the Year for the Admirals.
Yeah, it's a league-wide program, so every year, and I know the NFL does something similar with the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. So each team picks their own Man of the Year, and then they go into the running to be the league's Man of the Year. And so this year, our Man of the Year was Oasis Weisblatt for what he's done in the community, but specifically what he's done for the deaf and hard of hearing community. He's a CODA. A child of deaf adults, right? So he didn't learn how to speak English until he was like 5 because he didn't learn, right? And the story goes that his parents sent him to a French school because they didn't really know, right? That's like, go to school. Well, where are you going to go? Well, you go here to the French school. Well, we don't speak French. So we took him up. Actually, honestly, I've been doing this for a long time, as you have, Sparky, right? Took him to the sign language school. I've done hundreds of school visits in my time. And it was cool when the kids saw him come in, and he's an Admirals player, but was really moving to me when he started signing with these kids who most of the people they meet don't sign. They can't communicate with them. And he started signing. These kids were absolutely blown away. It was one of the
day.
It made their day. It made probably their year to see that here's a guy who is like me, but is playing professional hockey. That was so cool. That was such an awesome thing. And Oasis is he's like Aaron Sims called him. He's like a puppy, right? He wants you to play with him. He wants you to throw a ball for him. He wants you to do everything for him to have fun. And he nips at you. And he's constantly creating havoc in the locker room. But he's just like salt of the earth guy and really feels like he's made an impact too with these kids' lives.
That's awesome. That is a great story. I got one more home game promotion before we get to the playoffs coming up on Friday night. Fair Deal Friday, but more importantly, Fan Appreciation Night as well.
Yeah, Fair Deal Friday. Admirals ticket to the Wisconsin State Fair for 2026. You get it as low as I believe $26. That's a bargain and a half. If you're going to be one of the 900,000 or a million people that go to the Wisconsin State Fair, come and check out an Admirals game too. Get a 2-for-1 and you're good to go. Fan Appreciation Night. We have gifts for prizes for dozens of prizes for people. Just you come in, you scan a QR code, enter your info, and you'll be entered to win prizes. We have this unreal Admirals Brewers t-shirt as well. 2,500 people. Yep. You want to get here early for that. They're going to be gone by 6:15. So doors open at 6. It's a 7 o'clock game. Those t-shirts will be gone by 6:15. So if you want one of those awesome t-shirts that have our logo on them, they got Barrelman on them, courtesy the Brewers, get here by 6:15 or you're probably not getting one.
Yeah, that's how you sell it right there, buddy. And then playoff tickets, when do they go on sale?
Well, playoff tickets are on sale now. The only issue is there's about 1 billion different scenarios for us in the playoffs and who we're playing and when we're playing and it's crazy. Like I'm not very smart, Sparky, so I can barely keep track of it myself.
Buy the ticket to go to the playoffs. MilwaukeeAdmirals.com. Thank you so much, Charlie Larson.
Thanks, Sparky. Have a good one.
You betcha. We'll talk next week. Talk some playoff hockey. That'll do it for today's show. Coming up again, it will be the leadoff show with Tommy Ward starting at 5 o'clock, getting ready for Brewers and Blue Jays Game 2. That'll do it for Wisconsin Sports Daily. Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Have a good night, Wisconsin. Toodles.